Hello, sweet folks out there.
Hi there, everybody. My name is Keith.
And my name is Del.
And we are Renjeaux, and we listen to cool albums. Del, what album are we listening to today?
So, Keith.
So which album are we listening to today, Del?
So, by Peter Gabriel.
Yes, Peter Gabriel's fifth solo album. The first one to have a name.
Did you lose track because it wasn't numbered?
Well, yeah, I was thinking there's Peter Gabriel, and then there's So.
Peter Gabriel 2, and then there's Peter Gabriel 3, and there's Peter Gabriel 4. So who knows what number So is?
Well, it's the fifth album, but I mean, he didn't number them either. He just named them just Peter Gabriel. They're all.
Oh, that's true.
All four of them were just named Peter Gabriel, right? So.
That's true.
Yeah, this is the fifth album from 1986.
1986.
This is his biggest album, right?
It's
the highest selling.
Yeah.
This album made him a superstar.
Yes,
everybody probably knows this album.
You can tell how big the album is when you look at your Wikipedia track list, and almost every song has a link to a whole different page just about the song.
And if you look at the re-releases, down towards the bottom of the article, there's like 15 re-releases, different versions.
Right.
Yeah, something like triple platinum, 5 times platinum in the United States, triple platinum in the UK. This album shot him into superstardom.
Yes, it did.
He was a cult artist before.
Right.
A lot of Genesis fans followed him because he was in Genesis before. And his first few solo albums, especially his third and fourth solo albums, were just crazy experimental.
Now, the fourth album, which is called Security on some, I guess we anticipated it, but it came out really quickly after we started getting into Peter Gabriel.
Yes, well, we got into Peter Gabriel after his third album came out.
Right.
Games Without Frontiers was really my first experience with Peter Gabriel.
But his fourth one came out pretty soon after we started getting into PG.
Not a year later, maybe. No more than 2 years after we got into him. Yeah, that was 82.
So this album I really anticipated because he took some time.
4 years between Security and this one.
Right.
So.
I mean, it wasn't as anticipated as the next Boston album, but... Sorry.
But
that's an old joke. Anyway, Peter loved wearing white during this whole thing. Like during all his concerts, he was wearing white. During his videos, he was wearing a lot of white. It seemed like his uniform.
I think he's a performance artist, and when you got white on, you can bounce all sorts of colors off of.
Right.
Which is why we wear black.
Anyway, next.
Like
I'd have been there for a pre-production meeting.
Exactly. Well, that too. We're doing a YouTube show. We got to think about lighting and our clothes and stuff. That's something that neither one of us really have to think about very much.
Right.
So,
truth. Okay, enough about us. Why don't we get into this crazy thing?
Yeah, let's listen to this first song, man. It's such
Stewart Copeland opens the album.
Stewart Copeland on the hi-hat there, and then Jerry Marotta, Peter on the piano, Tubby Levin on the bass, David Rhodes on the guitar.
trust of a child.
Such a badass opener, man.
That is, man. It really is. And it's like his voice makes it sound so painful to me. You know, it's like in a good way. You know, it's like it brings the pain, man. Of passion. I always considered this song. Now I'd heard it's about dreams and all that stuff, but I always considered it just the state of man, you know, just the pain that mankind can go through, that deals with that they deal with and everything. And
just the heaviness, the guilt, the betrayal, the trust that gets betrayed, man. I mean, the pain of being alive, right?
Right.
It's like
so that's how I always took the song of that, you know, just in that, and Peter's voice was just perfect.
Oh my God.
Pain of man at the time,
just like expressing just what it means to be alive, what it means to be human. It's the suffering, right? That kind of Buddhist notion.
Right. So supposedly it was dreams, reoccurring dreams he was having at the time, right?
Yeah. They're pretty bizarre.
Yeah.
There's something about human-shaped wine bottles.
Yeah.
Full of red blood or red wine or whatever.
Falling off a cliff and smashing on the ground and
breaking
red blood-like liquid coming from them. And
it's kind of tied into this character that he has been building since the first album, his first solo album, right? Mojo is his name or something like that.
Oh, that was supposedly that's a movie that. Movie idea.
Mozo.
Yeah.
And so I guess this song is actually kind of old. I mean, it's been around for a while, but it's according to the article I read, that's on the air, Down the Dolce Vita, Here Comes the Flood, and Exposure were all kind of songs
leading up to it, almost like a theme leading up to it. Oh.
Yeah, kind of scenes from the movie about Mozo or whatever.
Right. And like in some early, and also I'd seen a video, or it may be on our playlist, I'm trying to remember now, but where that melody came from an earlier song too, you know, right. and so that was kind of like, so a lot of Peter's stuff, he just has these ideas, where he just throws out ideas and he records everything. And then he just builds stuff off of that.
Can we look at that picture that you have? It's him at the piano with all those cassettes right there.
Sure,
all those
yeah.
cassettes.
Yeah,
I mean,
his
it's
jam
like-
box was his main, like, 2-track recording system. He'd get a feed off the board for that, and he'd just constantly be recording all the time.
onto these
whatever.
cassettes on his
Yeah.
boombox, sitting
Right.
on top of his piano Fairlight setup there.
Right, right.
Yeah. Didn't he have
Yeah.
a full-time archivist guy who
Yeah,
was
yeah.
responsible for recording, helping him record,
Right.
and then actually going through and listening to these things and kind of indexing them and
Yeah,
Right.
and I don't know if it's the same guy, but when they re-released the box set, they took a lot of these old recordings and just kind of showed the progression.
the
the songs
fully
that made
finished, the
the-
completed, which I love because because this is the artist's method.
Right.
Nobody, and this is the same when it comes to writers, to filmmakers, to
Right.
poets, to any kind of artist. You don't just, like, Stephen King doesn't just sit down and write a novel, in a week or whatever.
No,
He might get the first draft done in a week, but then there's
Right.
months of editing, going back and forth, taking parts out and changing things. Same thing with musicians, right? And we need to see this. I'm so glad that Peter Gabriel did that. That we need to see that musicians like us, just regular people, need to realize that you don't just sit down and record a hit song in a
No.
take.
no. I mean, it happens, but no.
Rarely,
Usually it doesn't.
rarely, right? I mean, it takes editing. It takes, okay, this
Right.
works, this doesn't. This chord progression works, this doesn't. This melody doesn't work with that, but it works with this. And, here's
Right.
a good bridge. Here's a good chorus. If we put them together, maybe they work, maybe they don't. So
Right.
the art is in the editing, right? That's the
Right.
hard part. That's the hard part, and that's where the art is.
Yeah.
So
You're right. You're right. And his main editor on this album was Daniel Lanois. Really, if you think about it, that was his main.
He was his guy.
He was his guy, that producer who met Peter, or who worked with Peter on Birdie, which came out.
Right before
The
this.
soundtrack came out just before this.
Yeah, and
Birdie
apparently
actually
Peter
used a lot of tracks that Peter had
previous.
from the 3 and 4 and all
Yeah,
of
exactly.
that. So, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What I love about this photo is you have Kevin Killen in there,
Engineer.
who actually mixed Red Rain. We were talking about the fade out,
That
or where they
mix,
brought out
yeah.
the rest of the band and left the piano. That was his mix.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Good job, Kevin Killen.
And this is at Peter's house,
His estate,
right?
Ashcombe House out in Somerset. He had a house and then a barn, so he converted the barn into a studio.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So Ashcombe House.
Where else can you get away with just make cassettes after cassettes after cassettes and ideas
Well,
after
yeah.
ideas? You know what's
Yeah.
neat? He still has the same method, because I was watching a video that was produced in 2008 of the same engineer that was working with him and just keeping track of everything. So now he records it, at Real World, or he's been working at Real World, and he has this old room, his own barn
Piano
that he
and
built.
keyboards
And he has this system going into, he records in the Pro Tools mainly. He writes in Logic, but he also has a side Pro Tools rig that records all the time. Every time he steps foot in, it's like basically they turn it on and ready to go.
Everything's ready to go. Everything's recording. So
Right.
exactly. And then that's, I don't know if it's the same guy, but it does the same job. That kind of goes through and listens to all of those recordings and helps him sort through the what might work here and there. And so cool.
Yeah.
Just cool workflow, man.